When you hear the term zest or zest for life, it's easy to go to the feeling of, high energy, high enthusiasm. And when you're struggling with depression or trauma, anxiety, that can feel so overwhelming. So today we're going to scale that back a bit and we're going to talk about zest as being a life energy that helps you reconnect with joy, curiosity, and engagement one small moment at a time. Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you canceling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. Welcome back to Practical Solutions for PTSD. I'm so glad you joined us for our next installment in the Not Broken Equipped series. We're talking about how character strengths can help you deal with issues in your life. When you lean into them and develop them, you can develop your own form of superpower to help you to be able to combat things like PTSD, depression, seasonal depression, anxiety symptoms, all kinds of things that it can really help you with. It can help you learn how to set boundaries. There's loads of things you can do when you lean into your superpowers. They can help you to be able to do that effectively. Now, if this is something you want help with, reach out and set up an appointment with me for a one-on-one anxiety and depression breakthrough coaching session. Just go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com/breakthrough. You can schedule an appointment with me there. I can walk you through how to take your character strengths and customize them to help you be able to better face the challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis. This will give you more effective tools to be able to customize them to your personality, to your character strengths. So go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com/breakthrough and I can help you with that. Today's topic is zest. I can remember when I was first doing this, I first got involved in resilience and taking the values and action survey, finding out my own character strengths, studying the various ones. Just listening to someone describe zest at that point just exhausted me. Like, I just cannot do this. This is so far outside of what I can do right now. Because you automatically think of somebody with high energy and that enthusiasm for life. And in fact, the video clip that I saw, there's this person that talks about wanting to squeeze every moment of joy out of every second that you live in. And it just made me tired listening to her. And I knew some people that were super high energy, and being around them would just make me so tired. Like, how can you do this? I just can't deal with this. And so bringing this character strength into the realm of dealing with PTSD, anxiety, depression, trauma, the whole trauma thing can be a little counterintuitive. You're like, how could this possibly work? Is this just I don't have the energy to do this. I can't just be happy or go around trying to get every ounce of joy out of every second of my life. It's just too overwhelming. One, we're going to scale this back quite a bit. Zest, the character strength of zest does not have to present itself in that kind of extreme situation where you're having constant excitement or you're forcing positivity or proving that you're thriving in every environment. In fact, at its healthiest, zest is approaching life with engagement and energy, even in small ways. Is noticing moments of aliveness and participating in them, not performing, not judging, just being present. Sometimes zest can show up loudly, for sure, but sometimes it can show up quietly, and both are valid, both are important, and it can really help you in moments of recovery. So zest is the ability to approach life with energy, curiosity, and a sense of participation. For the trauma-informed perspective, zest is not about ignoring fear or pain. It's a nervous system response. It's the part of you that can notice something meaningful or joyful, even amidst difficulty. And that skill right there can really help you to combat some of the darker moments in your life. Zest often appears as doing something small that can spark interest. Engaging in a hobby or ritual that gives comfort, choosing to notice beauty in the mundane moments. I have done all of these as I have combated depression or combating seasonal depression, particularly. I'm dealing with anxiety. Because one thing about, and I've mentioned this before, but one thing about PTSD and anxiety is it pulls you out of the present moment. So you're either trapped in the past, which is typically the PTSD, or you're worried about the future, which is typically anxiety. And you're not in the present moment. And so sometimes to break that thinking pattern and to keep you from going too far down the rabbit trail or to keep me from it, I would often do exactly this. Find something that I can focus on in the moment that I can be thankful for, something that sparks interest, something that gives me comfort, something that I find beautiful in that moment, something that brings joy to my heart. And I'm telling you, it works. It really does work. And I've done this, like, sitting down, doing some adult coloring that would engage the creative side of my brain and to help me calm down. I use twinkle lights on gray days. They're on right now because it's been cloudy all day here as we're waiting for yet more rain. Just simple things that can bring you joy in the moment. And maybe I don't feel joyful all day long. Maybe I'm still struggling with depression or discouragement. I'm still struggling with anxiety. But for that little bit of a moment, I can appreciate the joy or the beauty or whatever it is that I can find in that moment. This also helps me because I'm very much of a big picture person. And so this helps me bring me back to just the next step in front of me and to focus on that. And so you can take intentional action that can help you do this in whatever way is meaningful for you. And I'll share some of what I do throughout today's episode, but find out what works for you, what brings you joy. And this is something you can also tie this in with your love language and what makes you feel loved and cherished. Bring some of that into the picture and it can help you as well. I mean, just for instance, words of affirmation is one of my tops. And so one of the things I do often is I will put little quotes around or, word signs or something that remind me when I look at them, they remind me to be grateful or remind me that I really am making progress, even though sometimes it feels like I'm not, or just something that brings me joy. In fact, today on my table, on my desk, I have this awesome mug that I absolutely love. And it says, "You are amazing, beautiful, capable, victorious, chosen, enough, never alone, created, always loved, and strong." And there's scripture references for each one of those. So if I may be feeling inadequate or like I've got this huge mountain to climb and I'm overwhelmed. I can look at this and it reminds me that God equips me for things I can't handle on my own. God comes in and makes up the difference. So having something like that it's part of that whole zest skill, that whole zest characteristic is noticing beauty in the moment. And it can really help you to be able to kind of break the chain of depression or anxiety, even if it's just for a little bit. And those little bits add up and they can really help you. So it doesn't require, now again, zest sometimes can be very loud, but it can also be very quiet because it doesn't require grand gestures. It doesn't demand external validation. This is your energy for living that you're expressing in gentle, soft ways and finding ways to bring that into your life. So in an everyday life, zest could look something like, smiling at a warm cup of coffee or tea. Now, I would definitely fall on the tea side of that. But I love sitting down with a cup of tea that is just perfectly balanced, perfectly flavored, and just is nicely hot. And I love that. It can just bring you joy in that moment. I'm taking a short walk outside and noticing light or air, breathing in the fresh air. And hopefully it's not too humid like it was yesterday. Whatever that could be, just noticing the moment. Listening to music fully or a podcast that it really resonates with you and just being able to absorb that and really tune into that moment. And just, for a song, this happened to me a few months ago. Someone sent me a song that was so meaningful. And I just stopped what I was doing and sat and listened to it, just fully absorbed in that moment. And it was very meaningful and brought a lot of joy to my heart. You could join a small group activity that feels safe. It doesn't have to be this big, huge thing, but you can do something small. So, for people with anxiety, zest is noticing pleasure or curiosity without expecting control over the outcome. So, you're letting go of that just a little bit. You're just appreciating the moment and living in that moment. For people with depression, this is where zest can be really hard to get a hold of sometimes. But it could be starting with micro engagements. So maybe the whole big engagement thing or connecting with people is just too overwhelming. So you can set a maybe you're just meeting with one person instead of an entire group. Or maybe you're doing it for, 5 minutes instead of an hour. Doing those micro engagements can really help you to get over that hump and still provide you some of that feeling of zest in your life, rather than waiting for this big huge moment of motivation to arrive and get you involved in a big party. Just take small moments. For seasonal depression, as I mentioned before, zest, I've used this a lot to help combat seasonal depression. Zest is about pacing and honoring energy cycles. So some days, zest might be lying in the sun for a few minutes. Another day, it might mean cooking a comforting meal. Both are totally valid. One day, it might be going to a small party or even a large one if you're up to it. Another day, it might be sitting and reading a book. Zest is participation, not performance. It's participating and engaging in life, not about performing happiness or making sure that everybody thinks that you're just doing fantastic. So again, every single character strength has a dark side, and zest is no exception. So when zest is misapplied or overused, it can turn into overexertion or burnout. Been there, done that. Trying to perform happiness for others, masking fear, sadness, or fatigue. Like you want to make sure everybody thinks you're happy because that's just what you are. So you mask it when you're overdoing zest. Feeling shame for not being enthusiastic enough. Even if zest isn't one of your signature strengths, it isn't one of mine, but you can still pull on that and use it. And I have. But I've also struggled with that feeling that I just don't have the enthusiasm that I need to have for XYZ engagement or whatever's happening. And this could be something that's because it's being misused or misapplied. So for trauma survivors, zest can feel unsafe to express. Early life experiences may have taught you to suppress energy, joy, or engagement to avoid attention or punishment. Ask me how I know that to be true. I've been in places where I got in trouble for being too enthusiastic. For anxiety, zest can become a push for stimulation that actually worsens the overwhelm. So you're already feeling overwhelmed, you're already feeling exhausted, but when you're overdoing the zest, it pushes you to go even, it ends up pushing you even further down the exhaustion realm. For depression, zest may feel absent entirely, which can bring shame or self criticism. Like, I should be excited, but I'm not. I should feel joy, but I don't. Or I should feel some kind of emotion, and I'm not. So this is where zest would be overdone. So here's a little bit of a reframe, and I mentioned this already once, but this is just a reminder. Zest is a practice, not a performance. You're there to participate in the moment, not to perform happiness or to perform excitement. Low energy does not equate lack of zest. Micro moments of engagement count. And this is really important because if you're dealing with anxiety, depression, burnout, PTSD, any of that, sometimes those huge moments of engagement are just above and beyond what you can achieve and accomplish. But those micro moments are also really, really important. And that's what you should target and strive for. So, how can zest help you? And it really can. I've referenced this some already. But for PTSD, zest provides connection to the present moment. Even small engagements remind the nervous system, I am safe here right now. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, PTSD can get you trapped in the past. And this brings you to the present moment by realizing where I am right now is safe. Where I am right now, there's joy and contentment or whatever it is. It brings you to the present moment. For anxiety, zest can interrupt hypervigilance. Noticing small pleasures or curiosity pulls attention away from the constant threat. With the anxiety, you're stressing about the future, what could be or what might be, and you can look at these little things that bring you joy that help break that thinking pattern. For depression, zest provides small sparks of energy that can gradually restore motivation and confidence. It's a step by step approach, not a jump to full energy. Now, that's important to remember, and I've referenced it already a couple times in this episode, but take this one small step at a time. Don't go straight from, I can't face people right now, to huge parties. Take it one step at a time. For seasonal depression, zest reminds you that life continues to hold interest or comfort even in low energy seasons. And this is one reason why it's really important to have small practices that help you in that, like walking in daylight, listening to music, turning on twinkle lights, having your favorite comfort blanket. If your love language is quality time, spending some one-on-one time with someone, um, giving a gift to somebody, or whatever that may be, that can help you to have those small moments of engagement that can really help counter seasonal depression. Zest does not demand joy. It provides permission to engage safely and meaningfully in your day-to-day life. It doesn't demand that you have all this high energy, but it helps you to find those moments of small moments of joy and moments of small engagement that can bring meaning and safety to your day-to-day living. There are some ways that you can help develop this particular character strength. And one of those, as I've referenced already, is micro engagements. So focusing on very small actions that bring even a tiny interest or comfort. So it could be a warm shower, a short walk, taking time to appreciate a plant that you have. I know for a while, when I was really struggling with seasonal depression, there was a time I would go to Costco and buy a bouquet of flowers once a month because they would last about a month. And it would be like one bright spot in my house, and I'd have these beautiful flowers. So focusing on something like that can really help you. Just those small moments. Number 2 is to tune into body signals. So notice when your energy naturally exists in the body and engage in ways that feel doable in that moment. So when your energy levels are higher, you can take that moment to engage in something that takes more energy but brings you joy at the same time. Number 3 is to choose one small intentional action. So this could be opening a window, making tea, listening to that one song that's your favorite song of all. The goal is to participate, not to perform. So often in the wintertime, my small actions could be I try to open my blinds every single day so I'm not sitting in the dark. Another small action I take is to turn on twinkle lights because they bring me joy. It could be, diffusing a candle, making that cup of tea that I enjoy so well. Just choosing one small intentional action that will bring you joy and helps you engage in that moment. Number 4 is to allow low energy days. It's okay to have a low energy day. You don't have to be the super energetic, enthusiastic person every single day of your life. Even if you are in an emotionally well place, as you're not struggling with burnout, you're not struggling with depression or anxiety, or you've overcome that a lot, everybody has days when they're tired, when they don't have the energy to invest, or whatever. And that's okay. Zest is not linear. Some days will be minimal, and that's perfectly okay. Returning later counts as practice. So remember, this is a practice, a participation, and not a performance of perfection. If that one day you just don't have it in you, it's all right. You can come back and do this another day, or you can try again tomorrow, whatever that is. So allowing low energy days and understanding it's okay to have those. We all do, and it's all right. So zest thrives when it's gentle, chosen, and attuned to your current state. When you're not forcing it and pressuring yourself to have these performances of perfection or always high energy, when it's gentle, chosen, and attuned to your current state, that is when zest thrives. So, as we close this episode, I want you to remember this: zest is not constant happiness or excitement. is life energy expressed in a way that is safe. It is noticing moments that matter to you, however small they may be, but as moments that bring you joy. If zest feels distant, and it can, especially if you're struggling with depression or low energy for whatever reason, it could feel distant and hard to get a hold of. But that doesn't mean it's gone. It may simply be resting or hibernating for the moment, waiting for a safer, more gentler environment to be able to reexert itself. So just hold on. It'll come back. It's okay. So I'm going to give you a reflection, which I often do at the end of these. What's one small thing you could engage with this week that might bring even a tiny spark of life energy? So look at where you are in life right now. Whatever's going on in your life, whatever you have coming up for this next week, what is one small thing you could engage with this week that might bring you a tiny spark of life energy? You don't have to act on that right this second, but notice what arises when you imagine. When you think about it, what is one thing that might come to mind? And then see if you can take steps to engage in that. If you would like some help in mapping out your character strengths and how you can use them in your everyday life to turn on your superpowers, go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com/breakthrough and schedule your appointment today. Hey, my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.